What is up, my sweet and spicy, sexy ass people? Today we are back with another tier list. Specifically, we're gonna be judging some shonen protagonists, right? So y'all see right here, I got my tiers. I got GOAT, I got pretty good, I got decent enough, I got kinda bad, and then I got actually awful. Cause some of these guys suck. Respectfully, some of them just suck. And then of course the always and forever don't know who this, cause as much as I love shonen, still haven't read all shonen, but I am working on it. So, if you got any shonens that are kind of uncommon, drop them down below in the comments and I can go ahead and take a look at them. Before we begin, just wanted to remind y'all, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the vibes. And hey, that lets me know y'all are enjoying these videos and I can pump out more of them, maybe more frequently, who knows. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into it, right? So the first one, already starting off with a banger. I don't know who the fuck this is. Let's throw him right there. Next one. Okay, so I have seen this anime. I really enjoyed the anime. I remember the blonde-haired guy is Aladdin. I know there's a really powerful dude who's Sinbad. They all have names based in like the 1001 Nights stories, right? Is this Alibaba? I think so. I could be wrong though, but this is a really powerful genie kid. He's a jinn, right? That's his whole thing. I don't remember too much about him specifically because I kind of felt like Aladdin was a bit more of a protagonist than he was, but he was decent enough. He was all right, so we'll throw him right there. Let's move on. D Gray Man guy, I think. Don't really know him. Didn't even know his name. We'll throw him and don't know who it is. All right, the first one we can actually talk about. Let's talk about Asta for a second. Asta, kind of my guy. I kind of love Asta, bro. And the reason I love Asta is because he's like Naruto. In that they share a lot of the same qualities, right? Like the hard work, the grit, the determination, the had no shot at ever becoming the leader of their respective societies, but still through like sheer grit and determination, powered through it, are now either have accomplished it or top contenders, right? In the case of Asta. Asta is just... He's like if Rock Lee and Naruto had a baby. That's maybe the best way to put it, because Mans works hard and he works out, dude. His training regimen is insane. His feats are insane. Bro, this is the only guy who... Spoilers for the... What's the name of the fucking manga? Oh my god. Black Bulls. How am I blanking on this? Am I a fake fan? I might be a fake fan. Spoilers for the manga Asta's from. I'm so sorry I can't remember the name. But right now, he's really the only motherfucker who can go up against these angel guys that Julius, the actual wizard king, actually had co-inhabiting his body, right? Which that's a whole different thing. We'll get into that when I eventually do a tier list or review for Black Magic? That can't be what it's called. For whatever the fucking manga/anime is called. I'm so sorry. But yeah. So right now his anti-magic is the only thing that can really hurt them. And he's gotten so crazy powerful that he's able to share that anti-magic with just a fuck ton of people. I guess the only thing that can hurt them is kind of not true. There's a couple of very powerful mages who have been shown to be able to hurt them. But by far and away, the most effective thing to just beat the fuck out of them, cut them down, get rid of them, is Asta's anti-magic, right? I like Asta a lot. He's great. He does suffer from like typical shonen protag syndrome, where like, oh, he's down and he's out. What can he do? Oh, power up, whoop-de-fucking-do, let's go. Still a very cool story. I really like his rivalry with Yuno. But I don't love him enough to put him above pretty good. That's just the bag. That's just how it is. Boruto. Man. Okay, this is clearly future Boruto. This is clearly Boruto from episode 1. Which I think gives me the license to talk about the manga a little bit. And y'all, Boruto in the manga, kind of built diffy. He's kind of insane. Spoilers for presumably the Boruto anime, but definitely for the Boruto manga and the sequel manga. I think it's called Twin Vortex. So, Boruto's entire arc starts with him being a genius, right? He's a genius shinobi, the complete opposite of his dad. The difference, though, is that he kind of suffers, at least a little bit, from the same problems Naruto did growing up. Not all of them, obviously. He has a family who loves and cares for him. Naruto did not have that. Naruto definitely had it way harder. But the kind of lack of perceived affection from people around him, right? Like Naruto grew up really lonely because he had no one, right? He was actually lonely. Boruto didn't really grow up lonely, but he feels like the absence of his father because his father is such an important figure in the Leaf Village, right? He's the Hokage. He's got to do the Hokage shit he's got to do, right? So he doesn't really have as much time for his family as presumably he would like. And even though the affection for Boruto is very obviously there on Naruto's end, Boruto doesn't really feel that. And almost more importantly, which is a trait I love about Boruto, he feels the lack of affection on his sister's behalf, which goes to show that he is a good big brother. We love that. I'm also a big brother. I don't know if I'm a good one. That's for my sisters to decide. But we love that. And B, he projects, right? Because clearly Himawari, I don't know if Himawari feels like she's not getting the affection because there's not really a big focus on her. But clearly Boruto is like projecting his own daddy issues onto the situation so that he has an excuse to get mad at Naruto, right? That's where he starts. As the manga progresses, we find out things about the karma he inherits from, is it Ishiki is the name of the Kaguya clan person that like kind of tries to take him over but sort of fails but sort of succeeds. He gets a karma mark, which kind of now makes him a Kaguya clan member, the Otsuki? I'm not saying that word. I've only ever read the word. I've never heard it said. So, Otsuki. I think that's what it is. It could be wrong. But he becomes a member of the Otsuki clan, right? Which means he gets incredibly powerful. It's not dojutsu because dojutsu is through the eyes. He gets incredibly powerful like jutsu types, right? He goes crazy. He goes balls to the walls, bananas. But he's also constantly running the risk of being taken over by that karma mark from the Otsuki member who gave him the karma mark in the first place, right? And that was the one he killed. I think in the Boruto movie, I believe that's where it happened. So the person he kills in the Boruto movie, and later on again in the Boruto anime, which covered the events of the movie, is the person who gives him the karma mark, right? And the karma mark is kind of where his problems begin. Because of this karma mark, Kawaki, a person who is not an Otsuki, but has an Otsuki karma mark, right? But he's like, he hates the Otsuki. He hates them so much, he's dead set on killing anybody who could become an Otsuki or already is an Otsuki, right? So when he first meets Boruto, they fight a lot. Like, seriously fight a lot. But Boruto actually ends up saving Kawaki from the Otsuki, and they kind of become friends at first. And then Naruto sort of adopts Kawaki. And then they become like foster brothers, step brothers, right? And it's such a good arc, and their relationship is really the driving force behind all the events in the Boruto manga, right? This is kind of becoming a summary of Boruto. The point is that because the Boruto now runs the risk of being taken over, at one point he actually does temporarily get taken over by the Otsuki and becomes a danger to the 7th Hokage, aka, Naruto, and his mom. And so then Kawaki, I believe when they were fighting a different Otsuki, inadvertently puts them in a pocket dimension, but now realizes that because they're in a pocket dimension, they are safe. And in a weird way, Kawaki's trying to show his love for his now adopted parents, right? The first people who actually showed him genuine care and concern. And in his, kind of twisted mind, he's like, okay, well, now I have to kill Boruto to make sure he can't get possessed again and to keep not only the village, but my stepdad. Is it stepdad? I guess my dad, I guess, would be the correct word, safe, right? And so then there a bunch of crazy shit happens. I don't wanna spoil too much of it, but the TLDRs, they find an Otsuki member who's actually able to change perceptions of people, and what she ends up doing is she changes the perceptions of Kawaki and Boruto to be reversed, right? So now in the canon of Boruto, the people perceive Kawaki to be the blood son of Naruto, and perceive Boruto to be the adopted son who killed the 7th Hokage, right? So Boruto's labeled a rogue ninja, and he has to peace out. And throughout all this, Sasuke is there, and he's like training Boruto, and Sarada, one of the two people who's unaffected by this perception change, tells Sasuke to be like, yo, dad, please help Boruto. It's please. And Sasuke, instead of trusting his own mind, trusts his daughter's instincts and hearts and saves Boruto, and they both leave the village together. And then there's like a 3-year time skip, as is Naruto fashion. And Boruto comes back after having been trained by Sasuke as just a fucking menace, dude. He's so sick. He's so hyped. But what I'm saying is that Boruto, his arc isn't even done yet, right? So it's kind of hard to judge him. And if this was like a power scaling list, he'd be in GOAT, because Mans is actually goated with the sauce. It's crazy. But I really like Naruto's character and Boruto's character and his progression as a shinobi and as just a caring brother, right? Not just to Himawari, but also to Kawaki. Because even after Kawaki did all this fuck shit and wants to kill Boruto still thinks of him as his brother, right? Like, it's so touching. It's so good. He'll be at the top of pretty good. I don't want to put him in GOAT yet because the character arc's not done. But he's for sure top of pretty good. Next up, Detective Conan. I think that's his actual name. His first name is obviously something else. I think his last, or maybe his first name is Conan. Named after, obviously, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, I think that's the creator of Sherlock Holmes. He's a very Sherlockian Holmes character, which is why he has a name inspired by the author. I don't remember the author's exact name. Forgive me, Sherlock Holmes fans. I read the first, 200-300 chapters of this manga. The manga, I believe, is still ongoing. This guy's cool. He's cool. It's from a very different time of shonen anime, but he's smart, and that's his only thing. He's just very smart. Very smart, very, very, wise in terms of, his deductive reasoning. He's very cool. I'll put him in decent enough. I like him. Not much else to say. I haven't finished the manga. I kind of stopped reading because it was much more episodic than I wanted to be. There was a very interesting, actual plot there. But that plot kept on getting pushed away for more episodic adventures, which kind of makes sense. It's to show his, prowess as a detective, but even still. Deku. Izuku Midoriya. Protagonist of MHA Hero Academia. Okay, well. He's... Man, I'm really trying to be objective about this, right? Because, did the music stop? I just realized. Hold on. Okay. There's no music, and I do kind of feel weird without music. So I guess what I'll do is I'll stop it here. Y'all probably won't see, the back half of this. But here are the first 6. No one in GOAT yet. Spoilers, Izuku is not going in GOAT. I don't know where he's going. He's definitely not going in GOAT. That's just between you and me, alright? So, don't tell the others. But yeah, I'll probably be right back. For y'all, for me, it'll be 6 hours. But I'll be back shortly, here in a little bit. Y'all be good, behave. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Yeah, I'll be right back. Maybe in different clothes. Who knows? And we are back. A whole day later, as it turns out. I got hella busy yesterday and for most of the day. But I'm back. Different clothes. Like I said, let's go ahead and continue with this fucking tier list. All right. I got my raisins right here and I got a bottle of water right here because I'm hungry, but I'm also fat. So, all right. Deku. Let's talk a little bit about Deku. Man. At the beginning of MHA, I don't know if there was a protagonist who I could relate to more. Not by virtue of, the events they were going through, because obviously I never ate a guy's hair to get his powers. That was never me. I never worked out for, 2 months straight to get buff as fuck. Also, it was not me. But I just think in terms of, the needing somebody to come behind you and say, your dream, you can do it. I believe in you, right? It's not that I didn't have that. It's just no one ever explicitly said that to me. And yeah, the TLDR is I really related to Deku, right? I really, really liked Deku in the beginning. I mean, I know a lot of people called him a little crybaby, but I think that kind of made him more human almost. Cause imagine he's a weak little kid for most of his life who got bullied relentlessly by a guy who might secretly be in love with him. I don't know that whole thing, but and then you get the ability to do these crazy amazing things, but not without great cost to your body. It's not the great cost to your body that makes you cry. It's seeing the suffering of people and feeling kind of like a failure that you weren't able to do enough to save them. It's a very human thing, I think, for Deku to be crying. So I don't hate that about him. I just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Somewhere along the way, Deku just kind of stopped being interesting, I guess. You know what I think it was? When he got all spoilers for MHA if you haven't seen it. Spoilers for all of these if you haven't seen them, if I'm going to be talking about them. When Deku got all of the quirks is I think when his character kind of got, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it was cool that this one kid was able to inherit like 10 different quirks, making him by far and away the strongest potential hero we'd ever seen. Like, you know, good for him, pop off king. But also just, I don't know, man. I feel like the story would have just been more interesting. He would have been more interesting if he just had like, yeah, he's just strong. He's just really fucking strong. And he that's the only ability he has, and he has to use just that ability to like prove to everyone he is actually the greatest hero of our generation, right? And I don't know, man, the whole vigilante thing, while cool, was also kind of like very self-sacrificial, which I understand was kind of like a part of his story arc, but it also was like, I mean, really, dude, you have such supportive friends and a whole community who supports you and cares about you. And your bully who told you to go kill yourself is actually now like one of your best friends. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This might upset some of y'all. I'm actually gonna throw him in kind of bad. Like, the more I talk about him, there wasn't really a definitive reason. It's just the vibe, bro. The vibe is just off, dude. Yeah, Deku's kind of bad. Now let's talk about somebody who is actually kind of fucking goated. Our boy Denji. I love Denji, dude. Denji's from Chainsaw Man, obviously. Let me make sure this actually is Denji. Doing a quick once-over. It looks like it is. Yeah. Alright, let's talk a little bit about our boy Denji. Off rip, his life is awful. Like, Deku's life was kind of boo-hoo. His life is, oh god. It is a fucking mess, brother. And not by anything he's done. His life just sucks. His dad's an abusive dick, dude. At least I think he was. Maybe he didn't have a dad. I think maybe that was his adopted dad. A lot of abuse going on there. His relationship with Puchita was, I think I'm saying that right. Puchita. The chainsaw dog, who's actually the greatest demon the world's ever known. Devil the world's ever known. That was cute, but also only lasted for an episode. But just the things this man does is just so OD. The manga is so gruesome, dude. Chainsaw Man, at least the first part, really good. Really good. I highly recommend. Second part isn't done yet, and it's been kind of weird, but not bad. Just very different. So, recommend Chainsaw Man. Go check it out. Denji's character, though, it's very funny. I do like the fact that he's a complete and total, he's like the most stereotypical teenage boy, right? All he can think about is sex. Like, that's his main motivator for so much. Like, there's a solid through line of Denji wants sex and he has to do A, B, and C to get it, so he does A, B, and C just to get even somewhat close to it, right? Like, he's a mad lad, but we all been there. But he also, like, so the reason I like Denji so much, though, is, I mean, yes, he's a pervert, and it's not like good, it's funny, but it's not what makes him good. What makes him good is like the heart underneath the perversion, right? He's such a good kid, I think. And I don't mean good like he does all things right, because he doesn't. He's a complete fuck up, he's a screw up, he's pretty selfish actually at times, but like his heart is just so, he cares, man. He cares about people. He loves that people worship him, which I think is incredibly relatable. But he cares about the people that are worshiping him, right? And even some of the ones who don't, he can end up caring about. He's just a guy, man. He's a guy who's in like a bajillion different impossible situations, and through each and every single one, I think defining characteristic about Denji is he finds the will to live. No matter how shitty his situation is, which is an incredibly admirable quality, I think, right? So I love that about him. It's probably my favorite thing about Denji is like no matter what's happening to him, he just refuses to give up on his own life. Don't get me wrong, there's moments in the manga where like it looks like he's about to, but then he finds the motivation, right? And I like it, man. I like it. I like Denji. Denji's cool. Let's throw him in pretty good. Edward Elric. Man, okay. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This is our first contention for a character that's good that could go in GOAT. I love Full Metal Alchemist. Oh my god, I love it. It's so good. It's so good. And a huge part of why it's so good is because of Ed, bro. Oh my god. Alphonse too. Alphonse and Ed are kind of like a package deal, but Ed gets just a touch more focus in the story. Barely, by like a razor thin margin. He gets a little bit more focus. And he's also the namesake of the manga, right? He is the Full Metal Alchemist, which is fun because his brother's a literal suit of metal, so people always assume he's the Full Metal Alchemist. It's cute. It's fun. But yeah. So Edward is a 14-year-old, I think at the start of the story. I think at the end of it, he's like 16-ish. I might be wrong there. Who has the power of alchemy, trained by an incredible alchemist, because unbeknownst to the alchemist that was training him and his brother, they were planning on bringing their mother, who had died, back to life. And that's one of the few taboos of alchemy you're not allowed to do. And when they attempted to do it, after they were trained by this master alchemist, keep in mind, they were like 8, maybe 10 years old when they attempted to do this. They were expert level alchemists, even at such a young age, bro. Both of them are so disgustingly smart, which is one reason I love them both, right? But when they attempted this, they paid a heavy price. Ed lost his arm and his leg, and his brother Alphonse, Ed lost his, I think, just his leg. And his brother Alphonse lost his entire body. And so in a desperate attempt to save his brother, Ed binds Alphonse's soul to a suit of armor, and the price he pays for that is his leg. So Alphonse doesn't have a body. He's just a soul in a suit of armor. And Ed doesn't have an arm and a leg. Thankfully, something called automail exists in this world. It's kind of like, it replaces lost limbs, and it's incredibly durable, and it can also have weapons in it. It's because he's an alchemist, he's able to transmute, is I think the word they use, the metal on his arm and leg to kind of have blades and weapons and shit. It's tight. It's dope as fuck. But Ed's a whole arc, dude, is just so phenomenal. Because very early on in their story, right, their whole goal is it's not even to bring their mom back anymore. This all happens in the prologue. Like before we even meet these characters, this has already happened, right? Their goal when we first meet them in the story is to find the Philosopher's Stone so that they can use the incredible power of alchemy it grants to bring back both Ed's arm and leg and Al's body, right? That's their whole goal. Their whole driving through line throughout the entirety of the story is that one goal. But that goal very quickly shifts, not to not bringing back their body and arm and leg, but from the Philosopher's Stone, when they learn, I think very early on, I think in the first arc of the story, that the Philosopher's Stone can only be made with incredible human sacrifice. The thing that powers the Philosopher's Stone, things that grants it this ability to have such miraculous alchemy happen because of it, is the fact that human souls are sacrificed to make it. And not 1 or 2 or 10 or maybe even 100. No, you need thousands and thousands of souls. And we later learn there were actually 2 Philosopher's Stones that were created in an ancient kingdom whose history had long been forgotten by sacrificing every single member of this ancient kingdom, save for 2. One, known as Father, who's a homunculus, which was created in the ancient kingdom, and is also the main villain of the story, and looks exactly like Ed and Al's dad, because Ed and Al's dad is the second Philosopher's Stone, and has effective immortality by virtue of so many human lives having been sacrificed to kind of infuse him with this power, right? And Ed's dad didn't do it on purpose. He was tricked by the homunculus, and the homunculus, as a sign of gratitude, decided to grant half of the power to Hohenheim, Ed's dad, right? So the whole story is really about this corrupt government that is kind of running their nation, whose name I have forgotten. And it's running the nation by virtue of the fact that the homunculus father was actually the founder of this nation, and has steadily been putting in his own homunculus in either positions of power, which we find out the Führer King Bradley, one of the best characters maybe ever, is a homunculus. That turn was insane. That was so sick. But we find out he has Bradley in power. Bradley's son is a homunculus who's been like passed down from homunculus to homunculus over like thousands and thousands of generations. Might be over exaggerating there. And then he has a few other homunculus based on like the 7 deadly sins, who are kind of more in the shadows, just as like co-op, covert operatives type beat, right? And it's just, it's such a fascinating manga, right? And so when Ed finds out about like the Philosopher's Stone and what it takes to create one, he disavows the idea of finding a Philosopher's Stone, but he never gives up on the idea that he and his brother are going to get back what they lost. And throughout their journeys, they learn so much and they go through so much and they suffer through so much, bro. And like Ed's whole... It's not that Ed's a static character, because he's not, but he stays very much the same in terms of like his ideals, his beliefs, and what he wants, right? What grows in Ed is like this, he kind of just matures a little bit, right? He understands that A, he's not always right. He understands that B, there might be a better way to do things, right? And he understands that C, you have to cooperate with people in order to like accomplish your goals. And it's not that he didn't understand these 3 things going in, it's just that it's not ever explicitly shown or stated, right? But we see him slowly being more okay with these 3 things as the show goes on. His arc is so good, and the character is so good, and his powers are so cool, man. I love alchemy. If I could have like a superpower, and obviously the power of all powers would not be one of them, I'd probably choose teleportation, because that shit, that's just convenience, right? But a very close second would for sure be alchemy. Just the concept is so fucking sick. This might be, I'm not gonna lie, this might be more because of how much I love FMAB and just the manga, but I think I'm gonna throw Ed and Goat. I love this character. He fights with a fucking bow staff so often, which I love, one of my favorite weapons. He's a very human person, right? I think that's one of the things I love about him so much, is that his humanity is always shining through. And at the very end of the series, when he's talking with that quote-unquote god again, he's understanding that the whole basis behind alchemy is equivalent exchange, right? And so the first time the quote-unquote god took his arm for, trying to bring back their mom, and Alphonse's whole body, and to bind Alphonse's soul, he took a leg, right? So that was the quote-unquote equivalent exchange that the god took. But Ed, at the end, realizes very much so that, like, your senses are also a part of equivalent exchange, and more than your senses, your ability to perform alchemy that is inherent to all people is also something you could exchange. And at the very end, this power that admittedly brought him, like, unbelievable unhappiness, but also enabled him to save the world, to save the love of his life, Winry, to accomplish all these great miraculous things. He sacrifices that to bring his brother back, bro. And it's just, it's such a touching moment, and it's so good, and it's so poignant, and I love stories where the hero sacrifices their power at the end for either the greater good or for their goal that they were wanting, like, for the entire time, or maybe a new goal that they found along the way. And this story is just a perfect example of that. It's so well written, it's so good, Ed is so great, easy goated, throwing him there, next hero. The chick from Promised Neverland, or the dude, one of the kids from Promised Neverland. Only watched 1 episode, it's supposed to be really good, but don't know who this. Eren Yeager. Man, see, this is weird because I've never seen Attack on Titan, but I know a lot about Eren Yeager. I haven't read any story specifics. I don't have much of a right to judge. I just know his plan was insane, but was also evidently the only plan that would work. Okay, guy. So we'll throw that here. Genuinely and truly, I don't know who this is. Maybe from Fire Force? I don't know. We'll throw them here too. We'll put Eren at the top because I do actually know Eren. Let's talk about Gintoki, brother. Man, this one's gonna be a little difficult because I need to remember like the finer story points. But in broad strokes, when aliens first invaded the world, Japan kind of revolted, right? Maybe the whole world did, but specifically Japan revolted against these aliens to try to stop them, right? And there was a teacher whose name I've forgotten, or maybe we never learned, who adopted 4 boys. Katsura is one of them, which Katsura's fucking goated, love him. The main quote-unquote villain for a lot of the series is one of them. There's another one who I know for sure plays a role, but for the life of me I can't remember who it is. And then there's Gintoki. And these 4 samurai were like, and they were raised as samurai by the sensei, right? And these 4 samurai were like maybe some of the most goated samurai to ever have samurai'd in the history of samurai. Like they are so above and beyond in skill level compared to like anybody else on Earth, right? Like they are so insanely powerful, dude. But tragically, their sensei dies during this, and I know one of the kids is like, we have to keep fighting, we have to keep fighting, we can't let sensei's death be in vain. And I think it was Gintoki who was like, I mean, we could, but then more of us would die, and that's not what sensei wanted, right? I think that's what happens. I could be wrong. Gintama fans, let me know down below if I'm correct. The TLDR is Gintoki stops fighting, and the others kind of want to keep fighting, but they fight in their own ways, right? And where the story starts is with Gintoki working and living above a restaurant, working at said restaurant, or maybe it's like a club, working at some place and doing like odd jobs, right? Not really working at the place, because his whole thing is he has a little firm that just does all types of jobs for whoever hires them, right? And it starts off as a beautiful comedy, very funny, hysterically funny. I really need to reread the series because I'm laughing at how little I remember, but the scenes I do remember. Like, I know there's one scene where there's like a visiting ambassador, and Gintoki is like doing something. I don't remember how they get here, but there's a cop who's chasing Gintoki, and there's Gintoki himself, and they're like snowboarding down as like the cop is chasing Gintoki. And then at one point they like crash into something, and the next scene we see is the cop is still chasing Gintoki, and they're flying off a little cliff or a hill, I guess. And we see the snowboards have now been replaced with 1, the ambassador, and 2, I think the chief of police. And it's just so fucking wild, bro. It's so funny. It's so good. And Gintoki's character is revealed and grown very slow. It doesn't really grow, right? Because he is a quote-unquote static character insofar as, like, again, his motivations and stuff don't really change. But his perspective on things shifts just a touch. And it's really much more about finding out who he was before and how did he become who he is now. And once the series hits a turning point, what is the him of now going to do, right? I'm speaking in these vague, very broad stroke terms because I don't remember much and I don't want to misspeak too much. But the last thing I remember reading was he found that his sensei was alive. Which is bananas. That shit is crazy. And if this is, I would love to just do a video on Gintoki. I should do a whole video on Gintama in general. But this one's easy for me. Even though I didn't really say a whole bunch about him, and I'm sorry about it. He's goated. He's goated, bro. This is Gintoki, dog. What you mean? He's awesome, dude. Say less. Okay, now we're getting into a string of ones that I know pretty well. Let's talk a little bit about our boy Giorno Giovanna. Giorno is, I think, of the JoJos we have here, by far and away the strongest, because of Gold Experience Requiem. I don't think there's any debating that. But we're not just talking about feats of strength, although if we were, the one right next to him would probably be pretty high up. We're talking about character arcs, right? Giorno's the definition of a static character. Nothing about him changes from the moment we meet him till the very end scene. The only thing that changes is the viewer's knowledge of what his total goals are, right? And even then, they don't change by much, because we know he wants to be the mafia boss because he was adopted by a mafia guy so that the mafia can be good. That's basically his whole story, right? Very, very simple. But Giorno is very smart. I really, really love smart characters. I love them so dearly. And that's maybe because I am not smart, so when I see a character on screen that is so incredibly intellectual, I feel as though wow, maybe I could be that one day. I don't know, maybe. But Giorno's incredibly smart. He uses his stand incredibly effectively. Gold Experience base form allows him to make non-living things into living creatures. And the creatures follow one property, which they always want to return to where they came from initially, right? So it provides a lot of very interesting dynamics within the world of JoJo's. And the power later expands to being able to heal wounds and stuff, so he kind of becomes a healer as well. Very cool character. But if I'm being super honest, even in his own part, I feel like he's not really the main character. He's just the character at the end who shows up to beat the bad guy, right? He's there the entire time, and there's focus on him, don't get me wrong. But I feel like Bruno Bucciarati is more of a main character in this part than he is. That's just my 2 cents. That even said, he's a good Protag. He's a good Protag. I like him. I don't think I have it in my heart to put any JoJo's Protag below pretty good. So we're gonna throw him here. Son Goku. So here's the thing, right? He is for sure the protagonist of Dragon Ball OG and Dragon Ball Super. There's no denying either of those. But Dragon Ball Z, that's kind of a debate. That's good water. Dragon Ball Z, I would posit, I'm not the first one who posited this. The first one I ever heard posit this was Kaiser Neko and Landy Pator over on Team 4-Star. Shout out Team 4-Star, go check them out. Very fun. I would posit that the main characters of Dragon Ball Z are actually Piccolo, Gohan, and Vegeta. Piccolo more up and until like the Cell arc really starts. Gohan for basically the entirety of Dragon Ball Z up and until the Buu Saga. And Vegeta for everything from when he appears till the end of Buu Saga. Like, these are the 3 characters around which the plot revolves. And these are the 3 characters whose, like, point of view and whose decisions drastically alter the story, right? And I think we focus on them a lot more than we focus on Goku for a lot of these as well, right? Like, the Namek Saga, Goku wasn't there. He wasn't there until the very end. And now, for what it's worth, I know the Frieza fight took, like, 30 episodes, but it also only took 5 minutes, right? So Goku wasn't even there for like 99% of the arc in canon. Maybe way more actually, because 5 minutes is not a long time. In the Buu Saga, I'll grant you, he takes on more of a main character role, but even then I feel like the story is really revolving around Vegeta and Vegeta's choices up and until Vegeta uses the final explosion, right? And it's only then that Goku then like takes back the main character mantle, I would say. And then in the first arc and the Cell Saga, it's very much about Gohan. Piccolo plays a very pivotal role in those stories as well. And in the Android arcs especially, Piccolo plays a massive role, especially since he's the first one to run into Cell. Like, there's no arguing that for a period of time, Piccolo was the main character of Dragon Ball Z. But that's neither here nor there, because we're not talking about any of those awesome characters. We're talking about Son Goku. Man, oh man. Okay, so, if y'all have seen my Vox Machina tier list or my Vox Machina episode 7 and 8 reaction video, y'all will know I love Batman and by extension love Percival, right? And that's because Percy in episode 7, even though he's facing what he himself has claimed to be maybe the greatest evil he had unleashed onto the world, he offers it a chance at redemption because he fully believes that people should be given a second chance. I love that about him. Love that about him. And when Goku did it with Vegeta, I thought it was very beautiful and very poignant, right? The issue is that Goku keeps doing it. And it's kind of a problem, right? Because when he does it with Frieza then shoots a beam in his face, and then he supposedly kills Frieza. As it turns out he didn't, and Frieza comes back and tries to murder everyone, which he doesn't, because Trunks is goated. We love him. He does it again. Does he do it again? I kind of feel like he does. He does it again with Broly, but Broly definitely deserved it. And it also wasn't really showing Broly mercy so much as going back up to Broly being like, yo, I know you weren't in control. But we're saying soon, we love fighting. So if you want to fight, motherfucker, bring it. You know, we're down whenever you want, bro. Man, am I talking myself into actually putting Goku in GOAT tier? Because when I saw him initially, I was like, maybe I should throw him in pretty good. But now I'm kind of thinking about it. Maybe it is just the Frieza thing that rubs me the wrong way. But everything else, he's kind of slick with it. Does he do that at all in the Android Saga? Or the Cell Saga? I don't think so. And even in the Buu Saga, he kills Kid Buu before saying, I hope you come back as a good guy next time so we can fight, right? Fuck, man. I don't know. Here's the thing. Goku is also a very static character, right? He doesn't grow. His motivations never change. He's motivated by one thing, almost one thing, and one thing alone, and that is the thrill of the fight. He loves fighting. And as somebody who grew up getting into a lot of very petty fist fights, I also love fighting, so I kind of relate on that front. And Goku is, he's such a pure-hearted soul. Man, I don't know. I don't want to talk about Goku too much, because I already did that in my Dragon Ball Saga video, so go check that out if you haven't yet. It's a tier list, it's very fun. Man. Here's the thing. As much as I love Goku, as much as I love the hype he brings, he doesn't really have the kick-ass character moments. And I don't mean like the hype character moments, because if this was a hype tier list, Goku would be tippy-top, right? I'm talking about character moments, the way Gintoki does in his backstory, the way Ed does throughout the entirety of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Goku doesn't really have those. What he has are badass moments, just raw fucking moments, bro. The scene where he goes Super Saiyan 3, the music that plays, bro. I'm hearing it in my head right now, and I'm trying to just get more hype. It's so good, dude. Here's what we'll do. For now, I'm gonna throw him at the top of pretty good. If this tier becomes bloated, we might move him up top. And if I feel like later on I kind of want to move him up top just because I love his badass moments, because he has hella badass moments, right? We might just put him there. But for now, we'll keep him here. Gon Freaks. So this is interesting, because whenever I look at Hunter x Hunter, I'm always viewing it from like the lens of the villains are the ones who are defining the story. And in a way they are. But the solid through line throughout the entirety of the story, up and until the end of the Chimera Ant arc, probably until the end of the election arc actually, is that Gon wants to find his dad. Right? Like that has always been the through line for the entirety of the story. It's a lot of the driving force behind Gon's motivation. And even though he's a very simple character, and that's shown in his Nen type, right? Enhancement, it doesn't mean the character isn't well written and the character isn't complicated. And we see that, right? In the fight, in the events in the Chimera Ant arc, when Kite loses his arm, we see such a drastically different side of Gon. Because up until this point, Gon had been kind of carefree, kind of happy-go-lucky, kind of fully believing in himself in a positive way that kind of made the people around him feel happy to know him, right? But as soon as Kite tells them to run and Killua grabs him and they both peel out, because Kite and Killua both understand they can't beat Pito. Even Kite, who might have had a slim shot, only had the slimmest of shots if Gon and Killua wasn't there, right? And then as soon as they dip out, Gon is like, he's knocked out, right, by Killua, so that Killua can take him away. When Gon wakes up, they're talking, and he's like, oh, where's Kite? And they're like, Kite hasn't come back. And Gon kind of goes to a sort of dark place, but he's not quite there yet. It's only when they find Kite's body, which has been mangled and warped, and is also seemingly acting like a puppet, presumably due to the Nen of Pito, has no agency, and for all intents and purposes has died, that we see this like dark, burning hatred, vitriolic, man. It's scary a little bit, right? That a 12-year-old could have this much potential for just hatred and disgust at something's existence. But like that's what Gon, that's the side of Gon we see for the first time, and it's brought about by Pito. And then in the Chimera Ant, like in the actual climax of the arc, Gon's sole motivation is, I'm gonna get Pito to fix Kite, and then I'm gonna kill Pito. And he's not saying it like, yeah, I can do it. He's not saying it like we have to do it, we don't have a choice. He's saying it like, I'm gonna do it. It's going to happen, regardless of what Pito wants, regardless of what you guys want. And if you guys get in my way, I will solo this whole thing by myself. And it's not just confidence, it's the coldness behind it, you know? The singular focus of, I have to do this, not because it's good for the world, but because I hate this motherfucker. And if he can't fix Kite, I'm going to kill him dead, right? And then when they finally encounter Pito, it is after the Zoldycks have just launched like the dragon on the dragon technique he used to like hurt Komugi is her name, right? The girl that Miriam kind of had feelings for. Those never explicitly stated like that because Togashi is a very good writer and knows how to show instead of tell. And he sees Pito. He's like, Pito, you, me, outside now. And Pito's like, I can't. I need to fix this girl. And then Gon gets like beyond pissed. Like, like this is pissed. And then Gon is like somewhere up here. Let me bring it down. Somewhere up here is where Gon is. This is Gon before he saw Pito again. This is after when Pito's like, I have to save this girl. Because Gon is like, how could you fucking monster of a creature dare to have empathy, which is a human trait? Like you can see the confliction on Gon's face. It's so well written. Togashi's so good at writing. Before I glaze Hunter x Hunter anymore, let me just throw Gon in GOAT tier. I love Gon. Gon is goated. Gon is awesome. Let's put Gon above Ed. Gon might. I don't think he'll stay there at the top of GOAT, but he's definitely not leaving GOAT tier, right? He's so good. And the moment when Pito says I can't fix Kite after she drags him over to where Kite's body is like 3-4 meters, like 100 kilometers away, wherever the fuck it is. Very far away, right? She sees Gon just absolutely lose it. And the only thing she's thinking is, I'm so glad I brought him here, because at least this way, the king won't be hurt by this kid. That just goes to show how powerful Gon was after he transformed, right? And I mean, don't be wrong, the transformation had absurd consequences. But like just seeing this incredible, that whole arc, the Chimera Ant arc, it really just reflects like the darkness latent within humanity from like every single perspective. Even a boy as pure as Gon was so corrupted by his own hatred and vitriol for a creature that he like sacrificed his entire future just to be at a point where he could like basically Oko Pito, and it was so well done. It's so good. Gon is goated. More Togashi's writing is goated, but by virtue of Gon having been created by Togashi, he's goated. Hinata! Oh man, let's talk about something light and happy. Let's talk about some motherfucking volleyball, y'all. Hinata is very cool. I like Hinata a lot. I think the thing I like more about Haikyuu is like the team aspect. So when we're talking about individual characters, especially characters that I haven't thought about since I read the manga like 4 years ago, it's gonna be kind of hard to discuss. What I can say is I love the fact that he's a short motherfucker who has hops for days, right? And I think his like idol is the Little Giant, is I believe the person's name, and that's who he looks up to, and he just wants to emulate the things they've done, right? So very simple, very straightforward, but Haikyuu is also goated. Tragically, I haven't finished it, nor do I have the remembrance of how dope Hinata was. We'll throw him pretty good. We'll throw him at the bottom pretty good. Ichigo Kurosaki. Hold on. I'll be right back. I need something for this. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about our boy Ichigo Kurosaki. All right. Spoilers. Me owning his sword might have a little something to do with where this man's is gonna go. But of the big three shonen, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, for those who don't know, I think the protagonist who is most relatable by far and away is Ichigo, right? And that's because Ichigo starts off as a kid who can just kind of see ghosts, not the relatable part, but he goes through trials and tribulations that like make him question if he's even worth the powers he's been given. They make him question like everything he thinks he knows. They make him question his own self-worth, right? Because he fails pretty consistently at like saving the people closest to him. Not forever, not permanently, but like in little moments, right? And he's so worried about his little sisters. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that he's got 2 little sisters and I got 2 little sisters might have something to do with how relatable he is for me. I'm not gonna front. I mean, the way he cares for them is so good, man. And his whole arc is really about discovering self-worth. And is really about like understanding that even though he's different And even though he may not feel he has worth, it's through the people around him that he realizes that he does. And it is actually through his differences that makes him uniquely situated to be the savior of this world multiple times, right? The whole thing against Aizen sacrificing his powers was like maybe the most dope thing I've ever seen. Again, I said it before, but if Bleach had ended right there, it would have been peak. It would have been so good. I really dig the whole. Don't be wrong, it's a little catch-all-y, right? It's a little like Shonen Protag powers activate. Sort of like Deku, but I think it's a little bit more well done. The whole like quarter hollow, quarter human, quarter Quincy, quarter Soul Reaper, like all genetically is within Ichigo, right? Like I think that's very cool. It kind of goes to show that Ichigo is maybe like the perfect protector of not just his realm, but like all the realms, right? So I love Ichigo. Ichigo's great. I got his fucking sword, right? And again, definite bias here. I'm not even pretending to try to be objective when I'm putting Ichigo. Ichigo goes right here. I love Ed. Listen, I love Ed. But I would be lying to y'all if I didn't say I didn't love Ichigo more. Ichigo is my boy, bro. He's my Ichigo, dude. I love Ichigo. Fuck. And I love most of Bleach, dude. I fucking love it. Let me go put this sword back. Alright. No, shit! No! Fuck me, dude! Alright. Now I'm actually gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut most of it anyway. So I don't know how much of that I'm gonna leave in here, but my Minato figurine broke. His foot got cut off. So the canon event that happened, you can kind of see him in the background over there, is that Ichigo and a Luffy that y'all can't see right now because the way I got it cut up, they jumped him to cut off his leg to make him kind of useless and then very quickly iced him so that in the ongoing Shonen wars, he wouldn't prove to be a threat. That's the canon for my room right now. Alright, let's continue. Ippo, I think is his name, from Hajime no Ippo. I've heard this manga is awesome. I do have plans to read it. Tragically, I have not read it yet, so we're going to throw him here. Johnny! I've read a little bit of part 7, and Johnny seemed kind of useless. I'm not going to lie, I think Gyro was kind of more cool. But since I haven't read it, we'll throw... He's JoJo. He's going to go by everyone else here. Joylene. Man. Daddy issues personified, probably, is the best way to describe Joylene, right? Okay, hold on. So we did part 5. We're doing part 6. What I think I actually want to do is let's do it like this. We're gonna go in order of parts. There we go. Giorno kind of came first because his name starts with a G. That's fine. We're gonna do the J's right here. Okay. Let's talk about Jonathan Joestar. Mans is buff. He has a stepbrother who is super evil and killed his dad, and he goes on a vengeance quest. He succeeds on the vengeance quest, but actually he doesn't because his half-dead vampire brother is still alive, but is just ahead, and then infects everyone on a cruise that he went on a honeymoon, and tries to blow up the ship, and Jonathan doesn't stop the ship from blowing up, but saves his wife and an unborn child, and dies on the boat, cradling his vampiric brother's head. The end. I'm not gonna lie, I almost want to throw him in decent enough, but JoJo's. We'll put him at the very bottom, are pretty good. JoJo's gets respect on the name. Joseph Joestar. I'm not even gonna play with y'all. Alright? I'm not even kinda gonna play with y'all. He's going at the top of GOAT. He's going at the top of GOAT because he is my GOAT, bro. That's the ultimate cheater, man. Man's cheated in every game he's played. He pulled a Tommy gun out his ass. He cheated against Cars in that final battle to throw Cars in a volcano and made him feel like he planned it when he didn't really plan shit. He cheated on his wife, bro. The ultimate cheater, dog. Joseph is goated. I love Joseph to death. Super entertaining, super fun character the entire time he's on screen. And in every part he's in, he's such a fun presence to have. In part 2, he's like the young kid who's like really fucking dope and Hamon is the character we're following, right? In part 3, he's like a much older man who kind of got like old man stereotypes, but is also like incredibly buff, very fun, and a very good mentor figure to Jotaro. And in part 4, he's just kind of an old coot. He's kind of an old coot who's going insane, but he still has a kick-ass scene where he almost bleeds out just to prove to his biological son Josuke that he loves him. I mean, it's awesome, dude. To follow that up, our boy Jotaro. I like him just a... Do I like him less than Ichigo? I think I probably do. I like him just a little bit less than Joseph. Like the margin between these three characters is like razor thin, and the margin between this guy and this guy is thin. Not razor thin. I still definitely like him more, but like these three could be swapped around any which way to be the top three in my GOAT list, right? These three are ordered perfectly. Do I like Intoki more than Ed? No. No, I don't. I haven't finished it yet, so I can. Jotaro's awesome. He's like the exact opposite of Joseph, right? He's like dead serious all the time, but he's so stoic and calm and cool and just... He's such a strong man. Like, he handles everything, bro. He's awesome. I love him, dude. And in part 4, shit, brother. Say less, dog. Say fucking less. He's so good in part 4. I like him way more in part 4 than I do part 3. I'm not gonna lie. But I guess we're talking about Protags. He is the Protag of part 3. But I also talked about Joseph throughout all the parts. So we'll grade the JoJo's as if they appeared in. We'll grade them like from the perspective of all the parts they appeared in. That's how we're gonna grade the JoJo's. Okay. Anyway, Jotaro's awesome. Love him. He's very cool, very stoic, very well prepared, very smart. Next up, Josuke. Also going and goated. Just above Jotaro. Again, a razor thin margin between these four now and Jotaro, but yes. Josuke he's just fun, man. He's just a fun character to watch. His powers are cool. He himself is kind of goofy, very laid back, kind of a lady killer a little bit. But whenever people talk shit about his pompadour, bro, he goes like berserk mode. It's crazy. It's awesome. We don't get anything else out of Josuke outside of exactly part 4. I believe he's appeared in part 8, which is just a retelling of Morio. So maybe we'll have more to talk about then. But until then, Josuke's just goated. He's just goated, man. He's awesome. Joylene. I do love Joylene. I love her a lot. But I can't help but notice our GOAT and pretty good tier lists are getting kind of bloated. That's okay. I see some characters who are going to be filling out decent enough and kind of bad. Spoilers, most of these characters are going to be going in pretty good or GOAT, because I'm a Shonen simp, right? So I'm going to say that up front out loud right here. Joylene is going to be going in pretty good. Probably just above Giorno. I like Joylene a lot. Joylene is kind of awesome. Daddy issues personified, for sure. But she's in a women's prison. She talked about, I think, masturbating in the first 4 seconds of her being on screen, which is very funny. She's cool, right? She's cool, she's slick, she's a strong, independent woman who, as much as she wants a man, don't need no goddamn man. And she's just great, man. She's so fun to watch. I love her. I love her. I can't really speak more about her because there's not a whole bunch going on with her character-wise. I kind of feel like that's how it is with most of the JoJo's. They're very static characters who are less like changing with the world they're in and are more changing the world they are in, if that makes sense, right? Josuke being maybe the only exception, even though I'm kind of hesitant to say that, because he does have kind of an arc, but not really. Like, he does have an obvious arc in the show, but like not a strong character arc so much as like a plot arc, right? So it's kind of 50-50. Is this Yukihira? I don't know. Yukihira's right. Who the fuck is this? I don't know. Throw him right here. Don't know who this is either. Rurouni Kenshin? Again, nothing against the character, but I don't believe in death of the author until the author's actually dead. So until he dies, going in actual awful. No more to say about that. Kenshiro. I read one arc of Fist of the North Star, and that's enough for me to talk about it. Kenshiro is decent enough. He's decent enough. He's cool. He's cool. He's strong. He's buff. He's neat. But that's about where it ends. I don't really know his motivations yet either. So Fist of the North Star fans, let me know down below where I can read it for free, and I'll gladly do that. Light Yagami. So in my villain tier list, I put him in okay. And I think Loki, I might do the same here, right? I think if the story had ended with L's death, Light would be a goated villain. Not just villain, a goated character, right? But the issue with Light is that the story is really about building up his character up and until L dies, and then from the moment L dies onwards, so like the moment Light quote unquote wins onwards, is about the degradation of his humanity and through his humanity, his own character, right? It's a very, very cool arc to watch, and I think Death Note as a whole is like really, really good. Highly recommend to anyone. It does get worse after L dies, so be prepared for that, but still not bad, just worse. And I do like Light a lot in the front half, and I really think he's okay in the back half. But again, endings matter. And he got good at the end. And then he had his own name written in Ryuk's Death Note, bro. And he's like begging so pitifully. Oh, I almost want to throw him in kind of bad just for that. Can I in good conscience throw him in kind of bad? Is there anybody else on this list I can throw in kind of bad? I see precious few. So, executive decision, because I need these tiers to be filled out a little bit more. We'll throw them at the top of kind of bad, but we're throwing them in kind of bad. Again, if this had been up until L died, he'd probably be goated, because I love a smart character. But what I don't love is when a smart character gets stupid, cocky, and overconfident, which is exactly what Light does, and then gets got in the biggest way possible. Next up, Lloyd. Lloyd is, he's the quote-unquote protagonist of Spy X Family. If I'm being for real, I kind of think Anya's the protagonist, so I don't really know why Lloyd is here. Probably because he's the first character we start with, right? He's okay. He's decent enough. I like him, don't get me wrong, but like, if I'm comparing Lloyd to the characters in these two categories, like Lloyd just doesn't do enough for me to warrant him being here. It's not even about the fact that Lloyd isn't as well written, because he's a well written enough character, but he's in a gag manga, which would normally be a bit of a shame, but as y'all can see, I love gag mangas, Gintoki being the perfect example. But he just doesn't do enough in his stories. Like he's constantly not the actor, but the reactor to like Anya's antics, right? And I think by virtue of that, by virtue of his own agency not really totally being there, I think I'm throwing him in decent enough. There is no need to discuss the GOAT. There is no need to discuss the GOAT. Alright? Monkey D. Luffy is the single best protagonist I have ever had the pleasure of watching on screen, of reading on a piece of paper. Monkey D. Luffy is my GOAT, bro. I love Luffy. I love him. Fuck, I love him so much, dude. One Piece is so good. Oh, man. And Luffy's also a very static character, right? But the thing I love about Luffy is he's always so straightforward, and through his straightforwardness, always arguably one of the most insightful characters in the entirety of One Piece. He is so good, so direct, and he's so fucking selfish. He doesn't give a shit about what other people want, only what he wants. And don't get me wrong, Luffy is like one of the goodest boys ever, but it's only by virtue of the fact that the things he wants are for the people he cares about to be happy. Right? If Luffy was like Blackbeard and he acted the way he does, which kind of, that is Blackbeard, right? Blackbeard is Luffy but selfish. Luffy is also selfish, but like Blackbeard is selfish bad connotation, and Luffy is selfish good connotation, right? Like Luffy's selfishness is like, I want my friends to be safe, I want them to be happy, I want to make sure they're taken care of. Blackbeard's selfishness is like, I want all the hoes, I want all the gold, I want all the fame, bro. I want it, it's mine, right? Like this is what I deserve. And Luffy's selfishness is like, this is what my friends deserve because I want it for them. Like that's the key difference between those two characters. I love Luffy. I love him so much. I love Blackbeard too, which I do hope to one day talk more in depth about One Piece with y'all. But for now, we'll just leave it at Luffy's the GOAT. He's great. He's goated. No doubt in my mind. Let's move on. Mash rather. A very, very funny manga. Mash himself is a decent enough character. We'll throw him... I like him more than Kenshiro. I like him more than Lloyd. He'll be at the top of decent enough. I like him. He's cool. He's a cool guy. Strong guy, no magic powers in a world where if you don't have magic powers, you're basically killed. And he himself isn't trying to change the world. I don't think he actually gave a shit that the world worked like that, because I don't know if anybody would have been able to kill him. But it's more so that his dad wants to keep him safe, and his dad like pressures him to try to change the world, right? So he does. Hey, here's another actually awful protagonist. Now here's the thing about Meliodas, right? I have read the 7 Deadly Sins manga. Oh, God, I need more water, bro. This is so good. 7 Deadly Sins is actually a goated manga. I'm not a goated manga, assuming. I've read the manga, right? I've read it. And it is fine. It is not terribly offensive. What is offensive is the way Meliodas behaves with the chick who we later find out is an angel, who we later find out is actually his eternal love throughout all their reincarnations and all their life. But he's like groping basically a 16-year-old on first meeting her, right? It's not his first time meeting her, because again, they're like love, reincarnation, bullshit, whatever. But like it's her first time knowing about it, and like knowing him, and it's very weird. First time knowing him in this life. There's a curse put on her where she can't ever remember Meliodas, and Meliodas is doomed to remember her every single time. Some weird shit like that. And here's the thing. Perversion is nothing new in manga and anime, right? And I think the difference in character writing really comes down to when you think of a character, what do you think of, right? Like, we'll use Sanji from One Piece for an example. Sanji is a perv. No denying, right? He even said he beat up Absalom because Absalom took the invisible fruit because he wanted to use it to peep on women. Incredibly creepy, super disgusting, right? But when I think of Sanji, that's not the scene I remember. I mean, I kind of do, and it kind of still gives me the ick. The scenes I remember are Sanji declaring to the Big Mom Pirates Luffy will be Pirate King. Sanji sacrificing himself so that his newfound family can escape the Big Mom Pirates pretty safely, right? Sanji beating up Luffy, not because he wants to beat up Luffy, but because he knows if he returns to Luffy, it'll put everyone in danger, right? Sanji going back to Luffy after Luffy tells him that I'm not going to eat anything unless it's made by you, and I can't be the Pirate King without you. And after like a day after he finds out that Pudding is actually lying to him and has betrayed him and has been playing him this whole time, going back and feeding Luffy, it's just, oh my God, it's beautiful, bro. I'm about to cry. It's so good. Fuck, One Piece is so good, dude. Shit. Those are the Sanji scenes I remember, bro. Those scenes. The Mr. Prince scenes. I remember those. Those are the things that I first think of when I think about Sanji, right? When I think of Meliodas, I don't remember his dope friendship with Bond. At least not at first. I don't think about the crazy, like, 1,000-year off-screen adventure he went on in hell with Bond. I don't even think about all the dope fights he has. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of Meliodas is him groping his past and future angel wife lady when she's 16 and doesn't know who she is. That's what I think of. So that's kind of the difference, right? Is when I think of Sanji, I think of these awesome epic scenes from One Piece. When I think of Meliodas, even though he has awesome epic scenes, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that he groped an underage girl, and that's disgusting. So we'll throw him in actually awful. Mob from Mob Psycho. Tragically, I only know him by name. I have never seen the anime, or the manga rather. We'll put him right under, I forgot his name. Wow, that's crazy. We'll put him under the JoJo. Naruto Uzumaki. Man. If you had asked me when I was 18, there would have been no doubt in my mind he was goated. Now, though, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've reread Naruto a few times since I was 18, and I'm not gonna lie, the story is still very good. The story still super holds up. There's no arguing that. But the character's also great. I love that he works so hard. I love that he struggles, right? And it's admirable It's admirable that he believes in his friend so much that even when the whole world is turned against his friend, he himself does not. I also think that's dumb as fuck. Naruto is the definition of hard-headed beyond belief and stubborn to a fault. Because if I were Naruto, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not in a crazy ninja story with magic powers, right? But if I were Naruto, I think the chance I had, if I had a chance to have killed Sasuke, I probably would have done it. Not the first time they fought at the Final Valley, but probably like if I saw him again in Orochimaru's hideout, and then he's like, "Hey, last time I spared you on a whim, this time I'm not gonna spare you." If that had happened to me, it would have been like, "Yo, please forgive him, Raikage. Please forgive him, the world. He's still a good guy deep down." It would have been like, "Yo, it's on sight. It's on sight with this motherfucker. I'm gonna fucking kill this man. I'm gonna go trade. I'm gonna become so fucking strong that next time I see him, I'm gonna just put him in the fucking ground, dude." Like that's what I would have done, right? But I'm not Naruto. Naruto's cool. He's good. He does suffer a little bit from like power of friendship, generic shonen protag stuff. We'll put him right under. We'll put him right under Goku. Do I actually like Boruto more? Boruto's story hasn't finished. There's no telling. We'll put Boruto underneath him for now. So this is what we'll do for these three. Next up, Natsu, Dragneel from Fairy Tail. The actual Fairy Tail manga is fun, but is kind of whatever. The characters though are kind of the main selling point for this manga, right? If you like characters, then read Fairy Tail because the characters are very fun and they're engaging, even though the choices they make are kind of ass backwards sometimes. Natsu Dragneel can eat fire because he's a fire dragon slayer, right? That's his magic. His magic is dragon slaying magic, and dragon slayers by their very nature are able to feed themselves, subsist themselves off of the element of magic that they slay dragons of. But they can't eat their own fire, otherwise that would be broken. That'd be awesome. He's decent. He's good enough. Definitely like him less than Lloyd, but I do like him more than Kenshiro. Again, that's probably because I haven't read enough of Fist of the North Star. Sorry, Fist of the North Star fans. Greatest teacher, Onizuka. Man. So this was not on my shonen anime tier list, so I'm very glad that I can talk a little bit about it now. It has been many years since I've read Greatest Teacher Onizuka, so I don't remember a whole bunch from it. But I do remember the reason it's called Greatest Teacher Onizuka is because Onizuka is in fact the greatest teacher. And as I said in that tier list, I have an incredible love of mentor-student relationships. And in the history of anime, I don't know if there's a better mentor for this group of kids than this guy. I mean, that's really all I have to say. We'll put him at the bottom of GOAT just because I don't think I finished it. If I'm being for real, he might deserve to be like right above Josuke, but for now we'll just throw him here. He's so fucking sick, dude. Such a good teacher. And I remember at one point, I don't remember the exact context of the scene, but there's like a girl who's being sold to some guys for like prostitution or something, and she like it's being done against her will, obviously. And Onizuka flies in on a rope tied to a helicopter, busting through glass to save his student. It is insane shit, but it's so dope, dude. And this whole class of like miscreants and delinquents really come to love and respect this delinquent who has somehow become their sensei, their teacher. And it's such a beautiful and fun and loving story, man. I cannot recommend it enough. Go read Great Teacher Onizuka. Hey, you know what I don't know about this? Who it is? Let's throw him don't know who this. You know what I don't know about this? Who it is? Let's throw him here. Senku! Let's talk a little bit about Senku. He is fine. He's pretty cool. He's very smart, which I like. But he's also kind of... He's not dumb. That's not the right word. And he doesn't really ever get got, save for when he gets turned back to stone, but thankfully the little chick in the pumpkin, I think it is, ends up saving them because she has notes. I think the issue with Senku is that he just didn't leave a strong enough impression on me. And that might be because I haven't read the manga he's from it for a long time. I'm going to throw him at the top of Kinda Bad. He doesn't even suffer from the same thing that Light does. I just think his arc isn't strong enough, right? I think the antagonists in the manga kind of have more of an impact on me than he does. So that's kind of where I'm at. Next up, two-eyed color guy. I feel like I should know him. Sure don't. We'll throw him here. Yukihira Soma, bro. I mean, listen. If there's anyone who might deserve GOAT that might not get it, it might be him. I love him. I love him to death. He is my child. He is my golden boy. Amazing chef. Check. Good, kind-hearted student. Check. Amazing chef. Check. Really gets along with kind of everyone he meets. Check. Amazing chef. Check. He himself is like such a strong statement on what the culinary world could be and what chefs could strive to like aim for by virtue of his like humble, not beginnings, but like the humble kind of home he comes from to like a school full of like really rich, not spoiled, but like really rich or like really well off kids, right? It's a very beautifully told story, and the fact that it's the first dish that Erina tastes that she thinks is delicious, but she can't bring herself to admit it because of how cocky Yukihira is, so much so that she actually fails him on entrance exam, is amazing. Is her name Erina? I think it is, right? God tongue lady. Yeah. And also, he's an amazing fucking chef. The food he makes, bro. Oh my god. Thinking about it's making me hungry, bro. All right. I talked myself into him. He's going and go. We'll throw him right underneath Yuki. Crazy Onizuka. Don't know who this. Toshiro, I think is his name. Kinda sucks. Is actually awful. We'll throw him right here. He's a bit of a bitch, a bit of a crybaby. Doesn't really pull through in the stuff that I watch from Demon Slayer. And if I'm being really honest, the characters that surround him are far more interesting than he is. Don't know who this. Yugi Moto, King of Games, bro. Oh my god. Okay. Here's the thing. I like Jaden and Yusei more as protagonists. Jaden being the main guy from GX. Yusei being the main guy from 5Ds, which is the sequel series to Yu-Gi-Oh, right? But Yugi's just iconic, dude. He's just a literal fucking icon, both in the world and out of the world, bro. Alright, well, I don't want to throw him in GOAT, because I don't think he deserves that, but I might throw him above Naruto, if I'm being for real. I love Yugi, dude. The whole Yu-Gi-Oh verse, like, removing objectivity from it is just so batshit fucking wild. It's so fun. I love it. Yuji. Man, oof. He's kind of bad, dude. I hate to be that guy. I do. And this definitely is some of my bias against JJK coming into play here. But he just... Even when starting, he starts off strong-ish. And there's a lot of focus on him. But after Shibuya, the focus really pulls away from Yuji. It only comes back to him at the end, where he kind of just has like an ass pull to... Not really an ass pull. It's technique he's been developing specifically to beat Sukuna, which is good. But it's also just like... It just didn't do enough for me. You know what I mean? He himself as a character is just kind of nothing in my mind. I think Megami's much more interesting. I think Nobara's more interesting. Gojo's way more interesting. Toto, best character on the entire fucking series, is vastly more fun to watch. Now we'll keep him in kind of bad. Yusuke Urameshi. Man, oh man. When I think of my goats of anime, I'm not gonna lie to you, Yu Yu Hakusho is maybe the first one that comes to mind because of how much of like an impact it had on me growing up. And when I think of characters that are goated, Yusuke's Don't get me wrong, Luffy's by far my favorite character maybe ever. And probably the best character I've read. Maybe not the best character, but one of my favorite characters ever, right? But by golly, if there's anyone who deserves second place, it's our boy Yusuke fucking Urameshi, bro. I mean, there's so many good scenes, man. He goes from like this punk, literally depressed 14-year-old kind of bitch baby. And I don't mean bitch as in he's like a wimp. I mean bitch as in like emotionally. He's just not able to deal with so much shit. That when he dies and Botan's like, yo, you have a shot at coming back to life. He's like, nah, I'm okay. I kind of actually, living was kind of getting tough, so I'm kind of glad to have died. It is only after he sees his mom crying over his corpse, after Keiko, at the time, the lady he had a crush on, who eventually does become the love of his life, watching her, like, cry miserably over him. And then, oh my god, I'm about to cry just talking. The first episode is so good, you guys. It's so good. I'm about to cry just talking about it. And then Kuwabara, who at this point had been kind of a rival, but also kind of a friend to Yusuke, like, yelling at his corpse, like, how dare you die? You still owe me a fight. Come back and, oh man. Come back and fight me, you motherfucker. Dude, it's so good. It's so good. Holy shit. I cannot believe I'm crying just talking about it, bro. It's awesome. And from there, it only gets better, dude. We see him at every single turn, bro, risking himself to keep his people safe. We see him time and time again overcome these like impossible odds. Because if he doesn't, his friends are fucked. Keiko is fucked. The people he loves are just doomed without him, bro. And it's so good to watch all of them grow beside him. And then it all kind of culminates in the Dark Tournament. And finally, when he's able to obtain this absurd power, and the only thing he's told he has to do is kill Genkai, his master. And he walks back in the cave, and Genkai's like, so did you decide? And he's like, yeah. And I can't do it. I can't kill you, dog. You're my teacher, right? And if I have to kill you to get these powers, then I'll find a different way to get stronger to beat Toguro, but I can't fucking kill you. And it's it's so beautiful, man. It's so well done. And again, I hate to be this guy, but Togashi's the one who wrote it, bro. Togashi is goated, dude. Yusuke, easy goat, free goat. Let's move on. Johnny's this JoJo's name. Sorry, I just remembered. This is also a JoJo's character. We'll put him right here because I haven't read part 8. Let's talk a little bit about Toriko, man. I kind of talked about it in the manga and anime review, right? Or not review, excuse me, tier list. Toriko is basically Dragon Ball with food. That's the manga, right? And Toriko here is similar to Goku in that he's orange and he got spiky hair. And he loves to eat, and he hunts his own food. And that's kind of where it stops. Toriko is such a fascinating character, right? Because his goal in life is to just create his full course. That's a very simple like goal of most chefs in this world, right? But the adventures that he goes on, right? The fighting against the Nitro, which are like this super species of basically aliens that actually found Earth and decided to make Earth into like the most delicious food ever. So their plan is to inevitably harvest the planet Earth to eat it. His fight against them, those are like the big bads of the entire series, is just so fascinating, and it's so cool, man. Just conceptually, it's so drastically different from Dragon Ball, but it's still so similar to Dragon Ball. Like, there are power-ups, right? There are miracles that happen due to just the sheer belief that they need to happen. That if they don't happen here, you're gonna die. The world's gonna die. Everyone is fucked if you don't. But there's also so much more there's so much more weight kind of given to some of those moments. And there's so much more than just power-ups that go into like making something stronger, right? There's his chef Komatsu plays a huge part in Toriko's development. And he's really the root antagonist of the story is Komatsu, right? And he's also so fascinating and so interesting. And Toriko's just good, man. It's just good. That having been said, I cannot help but notice our GOAT category is bigger than our pretty good category. And for the sake of my sanity, I have to... Do I like him more than Goku? I think I do, actually. For the sake of my sanity, these have to at least be tied. Because if the GOAT is actually better than pretty good, I've clearly done something wrong. That having been said, these two categories are already twice the length of this category. And these two together, like, dwarf these three categories, right? It's kind of wild. But that's just goes to show how much I love fucking Shonen, right? I fucking love it. I think this is from Blue Exorcist. Never read it. We'll throw it here. This is the chick from Soul Eater, which I have not read all of nor watched all of, but read and watched enough, and she's okay. She's not really bad. I don't think she was bad enough to be bad, but I also don't remember her a whole bunch. We'll just draw at the bottom are decent enough. So yeah, this is the tier list. Clearly, I have a deep love of Shonen, which I knew going in, but I didn't really think it would be like this, bro. That's wow. Wow, there's what, 10 characters in GOAT and 10 in Pretty Good? That's a little bit embarrassing for me. Let me know down below where y'all would put some of these characters. Let me know if you agree or disagree with some of these. I am so sure I'm gonna get some hate in the comments for some of these takes that I have. But it is what it is. These are my takes, these are my opinions, and to give y'all anything else would be disingenuous, right? Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, or don't. Not your dad, can't tell you what to do. But if you don't, I mean, I don't know, man. Luffy might just go like Gear 5 and use Nika no Gatling punch or something on you. I don't know. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed. So I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces.